My wife said I was a little grumpy in the last few videos, so I thought maybe to improve my attitude I'd go to the south of France. So here I am in front of a picture of the south of France. And I'm still in South Dakota. But this gives me an opportunity to still talk about ATVs, UTVs, Jeeps, and motorcycles, and the trail systems and other things that are so much fun to do here in South Dakota, even in the wintertime. So without further ado, and with all the sweetness I can muster, here we go. Today I thought we'd take a look at the trails in the Black Hills, the various types of trails that you're likely to run across. We're going to begin in the southern hills, as seen here, and we're going to look at what you can expect for most of the trails in the southern hills. The thing to bear in mind here is when I say most, I do not mean all. You can find any type of trail anywhere in the Black Hills. So if I say you find a steep rocky trail in the north and smooth grassy trails in the south, that's a broad generality. You can find both types of trails in both places. What this video shows is a typical Southern Hills trail. In other words, it's not very steep. It goes through an area that has been burned, so there's very few trees in that area. And it's generally easy riding. And as I said, this is a vast generality. You do run across some nice areas in the south that are fully tree lined. That in the fall you can have lots of colors, and it can be a very pretty place to ride in the most of the year. And as I said, you can also run across trails like this, which appear to be rocky, but as you can see, it's not a steep trail. It's got a gentle slope, and the hill itself is rather gentle. It's not a steep hill. It's not a highly technical trail, but as you can see, it's kind of a nice trail, really. And if you see one of our Jeeps is coming down the hill now, and as a general rule, the southern hills are a little better for Jeeps. Now we're moving into the central hills, and as you can see, this is much more tree covered. There are areas of the hills that are very scenic. It does have cliffs, but this is a look at a typical middle hills or central hills trail. As you can see, it's not particularly rocky, and it's not particularly steep. Although these riders seem to be having trouble with a little slippage there, but as you can see, it's not really a very difficult trail. It's not a trail that requires a lot of technical riding to get up and down. And the other thing to bear in mind here is that if you can see, it's highly wooded. There's lots of trees all about, so that you're not riding in open as much as you would in the south. However, there are places in the central hills that are very open. Reynolds Prairie and Gillette Prairie come to mind as areas that have virtually no trees. And of course, there's another area just off 385 called Bald Hills. It's not very big, but there's not a tree on it. So that's by and large what you can expect in the Central Hills. Here's another Central Hills trail, and this is kind of what you would be looking at in the Central Hills. Now we're going to move up to the Northern Hills, and now you're going to find a lot of the rougher trails, a lot more technical trails that are going to be intersected by streams where the trail might not be totally passable or may appear to be a lot steeper. Some riders like the Northern Hills trails because they are challenging. The rocks can be pretty difficult. You run across, in this case, a stream where the rider has a bit of a challenge getting through this stream because there happens to be a hole there. So if you watch how he does it, you'll see that it's not a trail for everybody. A lot of people wouldn't like to do that, but some people do. And if you do, you're more likely to find trails like that in the Northern Hills. This particular trail is called Camp 5 Road. It's a very popular trail. And part of it goes through a stream, and part of it goes on just a rocky plain there. Oddly, the stream, which is Bear Butte Creek, doesn't run all the time. Matter of fact, this particular video shows someone crossing the dry creek bed, and as you can see, there's no water there. But in certain times of the year, it's likely to have lots of water, as you saw in the previous videos. But again, it's kind of riding that, although this doesn't appear to be too difficult, it presents a challenge to some riders. So that's something to keep in mind. Uh, if you come from an area without rocks or very simple places, you may not want to tackle something like this. That said, uh, every place you go in the Black Hills, you're likely to find some really pretty stuff that, you know, all year round. This happens to be a picture from the fall. We have other pictures from other times of years and other places. So, you know, this is the Northern Hills off of Bear Den Mountain, looking at Bear Butte Creek. This is another. That's part of the Central Hills, and this is again the Central Hills here. So there you have it. I hope you enjoy this. Please click like if you did.